un bombón, son un bombón. Tírame remix de listo. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show.
Este es el show de la mañana con Elio,
Esther
y Mafer.
Este es el show de la mañana, el show.
Ahí está, señoras y señores.
Ya regresamos, gente.
Regresamos al show de la mañana aquí en Tu Fiesta Radio. Es la tercera hora en esta hermosa mañana y este servidor, Elio Piedra,
Mafer
y Esther.
somos
Tu Fiesta Radio.
Ahí está. What a pleasure. Señoras y señores, este programa, este segmento es muy especial. We're gonna switch back to English. We are live right now, 95.7 FM. And also we are live on TuneIn Radio, Radio Garden, Streama, Alexa, Google, tufiestaradio.com. Y por supuesto, our YouTube channel. Y estamos también on Facebook. What an honor. This morning it is extra special. Why? Because after a while trying, we finally accomplished it. We have here for the first time ever at our morning show the great Emery Gainey, the sheriff, our Alachua County sheriff.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you.
I am very happy, sheriff, to have you here with you because since we met at the first event, we invited you, and we've been studying about your career, almost 40 years serving in law enforcement at the most, as they said, at the most successful and highly skilled management positions, appointed multiple times by our governor here in Florida, and it is incredible. And yet you are running again for our Alachua County Sheriff Office. How do you feel this morning?
Well, I feel ecstatic. I feel great. We live in a great and wonderful community. I was born here. This is home. Wonderful people. Got a great university. So we have a diverse population all across the county, and it's just a great place to be and a great place to serve.
That is awesome. That is awesome. But now, after I just mentioned a couple of your accomplishment, I would like to know. I'm very curious. After almost 40 years serving, right, successfully in law enforcement in the United States, especially here in the state of Florida, what's the why behind your intention of running again?
Well, unfortunately, we came back and had retired for 3.5 years, but was back in our local community, start seeing what was going on with our sheriff's office, again, the place I started my law enforcement career, and was very unhappy with it, and realized that there was a management and leadership problem. We needed someone to step in with strong history of leadership and management. We had those skills, so we stepped up to fix our agency for the sake of the men and women who work there, but also for the sake of the larger community.
Wow. So
do you feel that it is in a very different, better position right now, the department?
Oh, unequivocally. I think you asked it in the men and women. We were definitely in a better position. When I came here, we had 248 open positions back in September of 23. That's about a quarter of the agency. We've hired a little over 190 people in the last year. So we're filling those positions and getting men and women back out on the street working, getting folks back in the office to make sure that we can best serve the community.
I know that at the moment you guys were struggling a lot with Yale. Even when officers, with population, with budget, with everything. Can you update us a little bit on how is that position right now?
Well, that's going extremely well. We have a lot of great people. Within the first 4 months or so, we had about 50 of our well-trained people come back. We extended the offer, asked them to come back to the organization. Many of those men and women accept that offer. They hit the ground running because they're already trained, ready to go.
Nice.
And of course,
were they already working for another Yale department? Or?
Well, some were. Some was working for other agencies, and we were fortunate enough to sort of get them back. Or as I say to my other former police chiefs, we stole them back, but they came back home. And of course, we were able to employ some others with experience from other organizations as well. So a combination of brand new people who'd never been in law enforcement before, but obviously getting those experienced people back was a major help for us.
That is awesome. So now we're going to talk about public safety, which is one of our top priorities, obviously, for all law enforcement agencies that we love supporting. So, Sheriff, what can we talk about public safety? What are the top priorities to improve public safety in Alachua County once you get elected?
Well, we just talked about one of them. That's staffing. Obviously, in order to be able to provide all the services that this community deserves and we want to provide, we've got to restaff the organization. So we're about halfway there when we consider the fact that you have no more attrition. You have retirements and things of that sort. So out of that 190 or so people that we hired, our net is about half of those open positions that we had with 248. Obviously, we want to look very closely at combating violent crime. We've seen an unacceptable increase in violent crime. So one of the things that I did in my administration back in March, we partnered with our other local law enforcement, our state law enforcement, and our federal agencies to specifically address gun crime. We've had a lot of great success. Our staffs have identified over 125 individuals that's been involved in these crimes. We've arrested, and they sit at my jail now, about 55 of those individuals, and you've seen a decrease in gun crime as a result of that. So we're going to continue to do that. Of course, there's a prevention part of that, too. We prefer people not to get involved to start with, so we're working on the prevention side. Community engagement is important. It's always not absolutely necessary to engage with all members of our community to help us in this endeavor, in this effort. We don't do this alone as law enforcement. We do this collectively as a community, our churches, our organizations, our universities and colleges here. So we're doing that effectively in addressing crime.
And now that you mentioned that, Sheriff, what is the plan? Is there any plan in place to actually strengthen that relationship? I understand that we already have a relationship, but to make it even better and grow. Right now, our Latino community in Alachua County is 15%. And it is, I was actually at the Alachua County Commissioner meeting the other day that was exposing publicly to them that it is 25% of the international students at Santa Fe College that is being, for the numerous time, the #1 community college in the United States. So it is very important for us to stay engaged and represent the Latino community and also to support law enforcement. But what's the plan to strengthen that relationship with our Latino community especially?
Well, obviously, we want to work together with every community. We met with a number of communities, minority communities, since I've been back here. We will continue to do that. We've done that our entire career. We want to engage. We want to come out and engage and talk and see what the needs of the community. And ironically, you mentioned Santa Fe College. Let me tell you that's a special bond. I have to be the chairman of the board of trustees at Santa Fe, and we're very proud of our status as the #1 community college in Florida, as well as our mixture of students that's out there. So that's very near and dear to my heart. But the key is simply community engagement with all our communities. We are available to come meet with any communities at any time, anywhere you want to sit down and talk about the needs. Help us to understand the needs of those communities, because we can police better when we have a clear understanding what the community needs are.
Awesome. Let's talk about transparency for a second. Transparency is key to law enforcement, right? So what are the steps that under your administration the department will take to ensure? What are the steps that the department will take to ensure that the Alachua County Sheriff Office remains transparent and accountable to the public, especially to our entire community, not the Latino community, because in the sense now we're speaking English, everyone's here. It's for everyone. So
yes. Well, here's a wonderful thing. The state of Florida has been known as one of the most open government states in the United States, and we're very proud of that. We have a very strong public records law. Within that law explains what is a public record, how to access that record, and the agency's responsibility is to ensure that the public gets that record. And the beauty of, you don't have to tell us why you want it. You don't have to tell us who you are. You don't have to identify yourself. You just have to say, I want this record. If it's not one that has some type of confidential status, like an ongoing investigation for obvious reasons and some juveniles, it is public. We ensure that you get those records, any of our citizens at any time. From my standpoint, we're open book. Anything that we do at the sheriff's office, again, that doesn't have a confidential nature for, at least until the case is over, and a lot of times once those cases are over, that information become public. We're here to give it to you. We're here to explain why and what we do, and we want the public to be engaged with us at the sheriff's office.
To continue with that question, besides public records, would you guys plan to have maybe some type of communication through social media, some press conference maybe when something, kind of like it's the time to do it because of something mega extra or something like that. But besides public record, because I know that the process for public record takes a while, you have to know what you're doing and what you're requesting in order to get it. And even to read it, when you get the statements and all that, it's hard to find out what you're finding. So you have to know what you're doing for that. So besides that, will be there an open communication through social media, press conference, and all that with the community?
Oh, unequivocally. Our public innovation department, we have 3 individuals in there, and that is their job to make sure that public information is put out. We put a lot of things on our websites. We're always available for interviews. If you want to come over and ask the specific questions of a specific case. Obviously, when we have really large cases where there's a need for the public to immediately know what's going on, we will have those press conferences, and we'll do those. All our social media sites, we're willing to go on those anytime. So just let us know.
That's a great point that Manfred is bringing there. And the reason is we've been able to create and build on parallel wonderful, impactful relationship with our Gainesville Police Department. The level of accessibility is amazing, and we see the results within the community. Just yesterday, we have Taco with the Cops, something that we just came out with, and we see families even from Ocala, even from Fort White, like coming to be part of these events. Latino community like getting involved. So I remember a few months ago we had this incident that I personally was we were talking about this extremely sad that took place in the High Springs, not High Springs, what Genie Springs. And the guy that came from, it wasn't Georgia. From Georgia, wasn't even from our county. And what happened, and we actually, we wanted to have some type of data, especially in Spanish, because here's the thing, is to have it also in Spanish available for our community. So that's why very important what Manfred is sharing. So we would love to build that relationship with our Alachua County Sheriff as well. So we can see the Latino community also applying to become a deputy sheriff, to be present, to be part of TPCOP, all these type of things, to participate on all the initiatives. You guys are all over the place doing a lot of events, and that's very, very important for us as a platform, and also for our community, because we know as a fact that they've been wanting to hear from you as a candidate now running for Alachua County Sheriff Office, and also from your career. So the next topic, the next point that we're going to talk is going to be brought to you by Miapa Latin Cafe. Let me tell you, because go Miapa and go Gators.
That, by the way, Sheriff and then Monroe's, they brought us some coffees. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Sheriff. Y gracias, John. Thank you so much. Y gracias, Miapa, for keeping us awake.
Yes.
So let's talk about mental health, right? Mental health, it is my wife, actually, this is dear to my heart. My wife is a great mental health counselor. He's been serving in this Alachua County, in our county, for so many years. And mental health, I have learned in life that is that item that put balance. Without that, we are completely lost.
Sure.
But imagine for people that they are taking care of our community, they are serving and they are making sure we are safe. And those are law enforcement, you guys. So how we're gonna improve the mental health of our deputy sheriff, of our Alachua County department, especially the men and women that they are serving every day and night on the street? What is the plan to improve that?
Well, first, let's talk about what we're doing for the community. We have mental health co-respondent teams. That's a specially trained deputy sheriff who pairs and partners with a master's level counselor from Meridian. They go out, they specifically seek out these calls where we think there's a serious mental health component to it, and they'll respond to those calls. Not only doing the call itself, but afterwards, they'll follow up with these individuals, make sure they're taking their medications. This help divert them from our jail, help divert them from our hospitals, and it help ensure that they get the services they need. Now, we have had 2 teams. Nowhere near enough. So here's what we did. As of 3 days ago, October 1st, we brought on a 3rd team. And we have committed to a 4th team come January. They're outstanding men and women who go out and work in the community. Listen, we look at our jail population. there's evidence that suggests probably half of those have some type of mental health issue. Some, of course, more severe than others. So obviously we work with Maria and other mental health providers around the county to make referrals when appropriate, to make sure that we're providing the best services possible to those individuals. Now, it always comes up. Sheriff, you guys are arresting people because of mental health, and that's just not true. We arrest people because they commit a crime, and they happen to have a mental health issue that's out there. So we want to be able to work diligently to make sure that the services are available to individuals who find themselves in crisis. And when it comes to employees, obviously you're right, our employees see a lot of things. And not necessarily the best of society at times. So we make sure that we have crisis intervention training for them, in-house mental health training. There's some mandatory in order for them to keep their standards, but we also provide and make available to them some really great psychologists around this county so that they can go and deal with their mental health issues that they see as well.
That is very nice. Youth programs. Let's talk about the initiatives. What initiatives do you have in mind to engage with our youth once elected?
Well, many of the ones we're already doing. Obviously, we have our school resource deputies in schools all across the county. They interact with our youth on a daily basis. They talk with them, they mentor them, they ensure their safety to the extent that's possible. And that diverts a lot of kids from getting involved in the criminal justice system. We have a teen court program. It is designed for individuals, youth who have gotten involved in some minor infractions rather than being in the larger court system, to go through the teen court system. And if they follow those rules and guidelines, it prevents them from being involved and having a permanent record as well. Obviously, we have crime prevention programs that we run all the time. We have RAD Kids, where we teach kids to know how to report and protect themselves if they're approached. Obviously, the community groups that we talked about, working with them every single day, our churches, all of these things are designed to help us interact with our youths to try to ensure that they stay on the right track.
Talking about churches, I don't want to continue without shouting out to our dear friend Greg Cassidy. Thank you so much for putting literally this together as well. Thank you so much for everything you have done for Tu Fiesta Radio as well. And I wanted to shout out to Greg Cassidy from KTK The Sky and the Odyssey people, my Odyssey family. But now talking about that, I
want to connect a question with what he was sharing. Since we're talking about the teen court system and veterans court system that we have here in our city, every city have a veteran court or a teen court. And I feel like those are resources, right, for teens when that happen.
Yes.
But I was having a very interesting conversation the other day. Someone from the chamber, they're trying to not create, but kind of like push back this program where they help ex-felons kind of like reintegrate in society, find a job, find a life, and all that. Yeah. Do you guys have something specific related to that, or what are the service provided, for those who have committed a crime, but they have passed their time, everything is good, they're ready to be reintegrating in society? What are the resources, what is the process, and where do you see that could be improved?
Well, of course, we think that's better served by communities. We're a law enforcement agency, but here's what we're willing to do, and we have done. To the extent that we can partner with, provide what services we can to any of those organizations looking at recidivism and looking at helping folks who unfortunately have found themselves on the wrong side of the law at some point in their career, to help them be successful down the road. So we're willing to partner, play our part, but I see that as being more of a community initiatives, because listen, as a law enforcement agency, that's not necessarily where someone who's been in the system want to come, first and foremost. But there are times that we can help. We can explain the laws. We can explain the rules. We can help them stay on the right side. And we are committed to doing that with any non-governmental organization or community group or church that's willing to do so.
That is awesome. And the question that I had, talking about church, talking about youth programs, I understand that, Sheriff, that you consider yourself a man of God, right? And
unequivocally.
And you serve within your church tremendously. As a matter of fact, I've been hearing from friends about a wonderful program that you guys have going on at church, where you guys get to travel to other countries to serve the only the youth but the community. I want to learn more about this because, hey, I am Latino, you know. So talk to us a little bit about these incredible programs where in countries where you guys been serving.
Well, ironically, this is the month of October. So for the 11th year, our church, the Gainesville Church of God, is in the 7000 block of 39th Avenue. And for those who may not know it by the name, typically we say the big pumpkin patch in October. That's the one that I've been at.
On Newberry Road?
Absolutely.
I see.
Not 39th Avenue, actually.
Okay.
On this one. So for the last 27 years, I've been a member of that organization. They're literally selling pumpkins today. And here's what we call it. Buy a pumpkin, feed a child. Wow. All the proceeds from the pumpkin sales go to feed hungry children. We do that here locally in places like the Florida Youth Ranches, the Ronald McDonald House, Camp Anderson. But here's the beauty. We have full-time missionaries in Guatemala. Wow. So every single year, at least one team from the church and some of the time other churches travel to Guatemala to provide services. And now we go as a group. Sometimes that's when, we're from 36 to 50 people. 3 main missions. Well, we take a medical team, so a lot of medical experts and medical professionals from here in the state go with us. We also have a youth ministry as part of that, and a construction team where they actually go over and build homes and build houses for the people in Guatemala. It's a great mission. I've been there personally. I tell you, it just warms your heart to be able to go over and help. But with those proceeds that we receive from Buy a Pumpkin, Feed a Child, we've distributed those in Venezuela and Cuba, Guatemala, Africa, Vietnam, some of the Eastern European countries, Ukraine and Poland. That's just to name a few. Wow. Every single penny goes back out to feeding hungry children. So we tell people all the time, listen, you can probably go to Publix or somewhere else and buy a pumpkin a little less than what you pay for one in our ministry. But the difference is, instead of going into a corporate organization pocket, this is going into feeding hungry children all around the world.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing.
And Sheriff, how can we contribute more in that cause?
Well, go out and buy a pumpkin.
Yes, let's buy pumpkin.
Yes, but listen, we also have pumpkin bread. The ladies at the church bake, and I think we sold somewhere over 12,000 loaves of pumpkin bread. It's absolutely great. Cotton candy. There's activities for the kids when they're there, bounce houses, etc. To be honest with you, the great thing is that you can make it a whole family day. It's not just as simple as going out and buy a pumpkin. You get to interact with people and make it a family day. But at the same time, being there and every single thing you buy feeds hungry children.
I am gonna go back I feel better every year I go there, and to be honest, I didn't know all the entire story behind it, and every year I go because it's nice environment, family, right? I've been bringing my daughters. Today I'm gonna go back.
Excellent.
Very nice when you do things because you like it and you love it, but at the same time you are serving, and sometimes even without knowing, as you say, like you go places, you are part of things that after a while you realize that they're helping move forward. I'm very curious. You mentioned Venezuela. I was born and raised in Venezuela. Moved here years ago. How have been the relationship with the country? How do you guys make to happen the things inside of the country? Like everything is very governmental, politics related. What's that relationship like?
Oh, it's difficult. It's definitely a challenge. It's definitely a lot of work, but we have an incredible pastor who have relationships with other pastors all throughout the countries that I mentioned. So he works closely with those in different ministries to be able to get into some of those countries. But you're absolutely right. It's not always easy because of some of the government positions of the various countries that we work with. But we're glad to have great Christian people in those countries who's willing to step up to try to assist in making sure that the youth and children in those particular countries, and of course we can't serve the whole country, but those areas that we can, we're glad to do it.
That is awesome. No,
very appreciated.
I know it's hard. Like in Cuba, I have friends that they go with other churches, and it's extremely difficult, and they do similar things with other pastors.
Right now in Venezuela, most of non-profit organizations, they are just putting a hole in everything that they're sending them, like medical, food, everything.
Because what happened with the elections is pretty bad. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to share once again for those people that are just tuning in caso de que usted nos esté sintonizando en este instante, estamos con el candidato actualmente sheriff de nuestro condado y también está corriendo para sheriff una vez más como uno de nuestros candidatos importantes. Hemos traducido menos hoy, pero es que tenemos bastante contenido, bastante preguntas y queríamos aprender más acerca de sheriff Emery Gainey. So today we wanted to share with you that our sheriff for the Alachua County, Emery Gainey, he's running again, and we are learning about his story, his career, almost 40 years serving in law enforcement. You've been learning, as I've been too, and all of us, about his philanthropic, I would say, career as well, philanthropic mission. Sometimes you have a calling in life, and you develop that as you go, and you bring that to your place of work. And as a matter of fact, now this question is coming to my mind, Sheriff. All these experiences around the world, serving your people, serving the world, right? How you bring that back to your department? How do you apply experiences that you might have learned, let's say in Venezuela,
the multiculturality.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Well, in Venezuela, it might not be the best example because it's a huge country compared to Cuba, a little thing, right, within the Caribbean, compared to Guatemala. Extremely poor, right, country. But how you bring back everything that you see, that diversity back to your department, and you apply and put it in your people? How do you do that?
Well, you recognize that this is a big world, and there's different cultures with different priorities, different ways of life, and nothing's wrong with those. But you learn to be open and more accepting to those different ways of life, and it helps you to police better, quite frankly, when you understand some of the things from a cultural standpoint. You're speaking of Guatemala, and I remember a story, I think around 2002 or 3, we were over there, and we had a crew that was going to help us on the construction. And so they decided to do two sides. We decided to do two sides, and we come together, and the block is off. So our master block layer cuts the block, make it work. We do another layer, and the block is off. Well, pretty soon we realized we were just using American. They was using a metric system. So guess what we learned real quickly? We learned they were in their country. We should be using metric. And that's a simple story. But the point being is that you get to interact with people. And again, we have an advantage here in Alachua County because, again, as I alluded to earlier, we have a major university where we have diverse cultures from all over the world every single time. So we get to interact with these diverse cultures and learn things. And so having that knowledge, having those interactions, I believe, help us police better.
Yeah, and that's crucial. And because a few months ago we were unfortunately discussing this super sad story about the lady that was shot to death by a deputy sheriff in another county. Obviously, I don't remember. It was I think it was I don't know. It was in Georgia, right? Well, anyways, but it was not here. But it wasn't here. That's just a disclaimer I want to put out there. And what took place, it was horrendous. And we're just blessed, as you just shared, to have a sheriff department that actually cares about diversity, right? Because obviously the way that deputy sheriff acted, he wasn't, he didn't deserve to wear a badge, right?
Sure.
So we're getting to the last point, technology and policing.
Well, before you jump into technology and policing, let's talk about it a bit. That's what we want in the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. I want a diverse employment. So we are recruiting, and we continuously recruiting, and we want that to reflect all segments of our society. We have quite a number of Spanish-speaking deputies at our organization. We're looking for more, quite frankly. So, and we have lots of jobs open. And when I say that, a lot of times people first think, Sheriff, I don't want to carry a gun. I don't want to be the police. Well, of course, we have deputy sheriffs jobs open, but guess what? I have a lot of jobs that don't require you to carry a gun. Corrections, for instance, our records, our information technologies, telecommunicators. So there's a vast. Fact is, the majority of our people are not gun carriers. Out of the 900 or so people, when we're fully staffed, do not carry a gun. And obviously specialties like IT that we talk about, fiscal. We are a $130 million organization, so we hire professional CPAs and people with fiscal backgrounds to run that for us, and same thing with HR. So if any of our listening audience are interested in the job, please go on our website. Please take a look at what we have. Please come see us. We want not only hire you, but again, a diverse community.
Very nice. I was about to ask you, but you already answered my question. Very nice. So now let's jump into technology and policing. How do you see the role of technology evolving in law enforcement, and what tools, once elected, and innovations under your administration you are going to be implementing?
Well, we have a lot of those implemented already. And of course, as technology evolves, law enforcement is also looking to see how they can help that technology help us solve crimes, quite frankly. But obviously, we use it in crime analysis to look at for patterns of behavior, patterns of a crime, and that helps me better deploy my people when we understand where that crime is happening, what time of day it's happening, what day of the week. So we use that. We use various camera systems that's been very successful in helping us to quickly resolve some crimes, and in some cases actually prevent crime as well. In fact, as we're talking to members of the county government right now about some school zone cameras, we have multiple school zones around the county. Unfortunately, one of the constant complaints I get on a regular basis is speeding around our county, all type of speeding, but particularly in our school zones where our youngsters are going to school. So we're looking at deploying some technology probably in early 2025 or so to help hopefully discourage people from speeding through school zones, but if not, to capture them and to be able to issue a citation to help them change that behavior as well. But technology, like anything else, as it evolves, so the use for law enforcement as well. We've solved some crimes, and we'll go back when I first came in September 23. We had a homicide, unfortunately, over near the sheriff's office. Because of some technology, that individual was arrested and in jail in less than 24 hours.
Wow. Quick question, kind of like to finish up. To those who are not part of our community, right? But they come to Alachua County to commit crime, to do robbery, to do things. Do you have a message from them? Because we get a lot, even from you guys and even from GPD, that there is a lot of outsider coming into our city to do these things because they think they're going to get away with it. Do you have a message from them?
Well, a message from them and a message for even folks locally who decide to victimize our citizens. We're going to find you, and we're going to put you in jail. Quite frankly, we want you to be part of the community, part of society, but we want to do so with care and concern for everybody without committing crimes that's there. And you're right. Again, we have folks, we're sort of a larger community. If you look at the county surrounding us, so oftentimes we have folks coming in. We have a lot of folks come in every single day to work in this community, and they sometimes become victims of crime as a result of that. But if you come in to be peaceful, law-abiding citizens, you're welcome. If you come in to commit crimes, we're going to seek you out, and we're going to make sure that you stand before the court systems.
That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So we've been sharing here with our sheriff Emery Gainey here in Alachua County, running again as one of our candidates for Alachua County Sheriff Office. So now my last question, and with this one, I'm gonna feel like in paradise. This is the last question because, to be honest, I've been learning a lot about your career, Sheriff, and what an honor to have you at our morning show. And my last question is, why our Latino community, our almost 50,000 Latinos in Alachua County, should vote for Sheriff Emery Gainey as our, again, sheriff for the next 4 years?
Experience. Again, if we look what happened to our sheriff's office the 2.5 years before I got here, unfortunately, it was in chaos. That's the only way to put it, quite frankly. A lot of great men and women were leaving the organization. They had a leadership problem. So what I bring back to you is leadership. I'm the only candidate who's actually been sheriff, and not just one place, twice. I was appointed sheriff in Marion County in 2016. When they had a problem, their sheriff was invited to leave office. We went down, fixed that organization, set it up, got it back in great shape, and was able to turn it over to the now current sheriff that's there. I've also served as the chief deputy here in Alachua County. That's the second in command under my dear friend who just recently passed away, Stephen Ulrich. So I got to run the organization back then. We are a huge organization. I've mentioned a couple of times, when fully staffed, about 930 people. Close to 130 million, quite frankly, with our grants, it's over 130 million taxpayers' dollars that we have to manage every single day. A jail population, again, unfortunately, of over 900 individuals. It takes not a good cop, but a great administrator, someone with experience, someone who's done the job, someone who understands the job, and got a proven track record of being successful. That's what I bring to you. I also spent 13 years in my career at the Attorney General's office. I worked for 3 Florida Attorneys Generals very successfully and was chief of staff there. I have the experience. I have the relationships statewide. And in the last year, when I tell you we've hired over 190 people, I think we've proven we can get the job done. We simply need more time to set it back right the way it needs to be.
Ladies and
Period.
gentlemen, period. With that, we are here very, very ready. So now you know, and you've been learning more, and now we have a more educated community regarding our sheriff, Emery Gaining.
Now, I have a last question for you, Sheriff. This has been a very interesting interview with you. What legacy do you hope to leave as sheriff for our next generations?
We want to be able to leave that you got a sheriff's office as part of the community, because we are you. You know, we're a microcosm that's like a larger society. So we want to leave a sheriff's office with high honor, high integrity, that we treat our citizens correct and right. And even when we have to make arrests and put them in jail, we still do it with dignity and to everybody, quite frankly, that's out there. So what we want to leave is that we are an organization who has an enforcement arm, but want to be part of the community. And remember, our people are. Our deputy sheriffs live in these communities. They work in these communities. They go to church in these communities. Their kids go to school. We are a part of it, but we also are here to ensure that folks can go out, have fun, live, work, and play in a society as free of crime as possible that's out there. So I think more than anything else that we're part of the community is that biggest legacy, and we want to work with you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Sheriff.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Sheriff Emery Gaining, for being with us. Best of luck, a lot of success. And you guys, right now, we're going to come back. Actually, we have Priest Wilson. Padre Wilson is coming, talking about church on our last segment. Muchas gracias, mi gente. Ya mismo regresamos con el show
de la mañana.
En Gainesville, Florida, la casa de los latinos. Tu Fiesta Radio.
Hermanos latinos, soy Gilberto Santa Rosa y los invito a sintonizar Tu Fiesta Radio.
Hola, ¿qué tal? It's your girl Becky G. Los quiero mucho.
Soy Camilo. Tú sabes cómo va, te habla Nicky Jam.
Hola, soy Shakira.
Dímelo. Raúl Alejandro.
Nosotros somos el grupo Manana.
Soy Melina León, sintoniza en Tu Fiesta Radio.
Hola, ¿qué tal, amigos? Yo soy Juanes.
Somos Flor del Tabaco y los invitamos a sintonizar Tu Fiesta Radio.
La